I hope you found that little video clip useful and interesting. What I also remember reading is that women, if they're wanting to fall pregnant, should take a lot of folic acid. And that seems to be preventing these kind of conditions. Of course, there is sometimes a genetic factor involved. Sometimes there's no genetic factor. It just happens. I might stress that it's not common for women to have a child with disabilities. So if you're young and you're a mum or dad there, don't think or get worried, or you shouldn't have children because you've got such a high chance of having a child disability. You don't. The next thing I'd like to look at is traumatic brain injury, and we call that TBI for short. And traumatic brain injury can happen at any stage of life. And for a child, it could come about as a car accident, having a fall, or being hurt at sport, or being shaken as a child, or nearly drowning. These sorts of injuries can happen. And of course, the effects on this child can be mild to severe. And what we typically see is memory loss, attention difficulties, the slow processing of information, inability to solve problems, sometimes epilepsy, sometimes severe headaches, and unpredictable moods. Now, in our family, my brother had a car accident when he was about 12, and that left him with an acquired brain injury. It wasn't severe to affect his intellect, but what it did do, it affected his mood swings. He had epilepsy and he had severe headaches. So I would say that when you come across someone with traumatic brain injury, you just don't know what their conditions are until you have a really good conversation with the parents. So what challenges are we going to face when we have any student with any kind of physical disability? Well, most of these students are going to have problems gaining attention. They may be attending for a short amount of time, and they may get very tired. We need to keep our instructions to them simple and clear. If possible, we need to break down the lessons into smaller steps. Visuals always help, graphics always help. Each of these students needs an individual plan, and we need to understand that the student has a difficulty and will always probably have poor output, poor ability, and it's not their fault. It's just this has happened to them in their life. Of course, they may have communication difficulties and may need alternative and augmentative communication. Some of them may need sign language, some may need pictures, symbols, some may need communication boards, or some may need some kind of electronic or digital communication device. Each of these students is an individual and has an individual plan. A newly acquired physical disability that seems to be increasing is childhood obesity. And unfortunately, this can be a disability in the fact that the child cannot attend to lessons or physical activities because of their weight and their size. So as teachers aides, we need to be encouraging our students and our families to eat healthy, to play, to exercise, and to have a healthy balance between inside activities and outside activities. Of course, asthma and other allergies are also form part of the physical disability suite. So again, we would have asthma, mild to severe. We may have nebulizers to assist the children in getting air into their lungs. We may need puffers, we may need EpiPens, but the important thing is that we have a plan. We have a plan for when emergencies happen. So what can teachers do? Well, there are some simple things we can do to make the student's life a lot easier. We can rearrange the desks if we need to. We can ensure that the students use their equipment. We can allow lessons to be audio taped if they need to be. We can check that the child is taking their medication. And we don't need to overprotect the child. I have always been very encouraged by people who overcome their physical disability. And so there are 2 video clips that I'd love you to watch. And they're by a young man called Nick Vujicic. Now, Nick Vujicic is an Australian, and he was born without any arms or legs, and he is living a very full life. He talks about his struggles to become a Christian. His father was a pastor. When he was born, his father vomited. When his mother took 3 to 4 months to bond with him. When he was 8 years old, he attempted suicide. But this young man is a born-again Christian. He understands what it is to trust in God. He used to ask, "Why did you allow me to be born this way, God?" Until he realized that his disability was able to show the glory of God in his life. He's a great ambassador for Christianity, for Christian young people, for self-worth. And I would really recommend that we finish this session by the YouTube called "The Most Inspirational Video You Will Ever See," Nick Vujicic, or if you'd like a second one, "The Best Inspirational Video Ever," Nick Vujicic. Friends, be encouraged that people with physical disabilities lead full and fruitful lives.